football. It's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. All right, so I wanted to make this video and show some much deserved appreciation for Emanuel Navarrete, because Navarrete, you tell me how to pronounce it, but you guys know who I'm talking about. Very, very, very special, unique style of fighter. You know, and I want to give a big shout out to my guy, you know, longtime viewer of the channel and a great friend, my boy Felipe, because he's been telling me for a long time, for years, he's been saying, BT, you know, you never give Emanuel Navarrete his just due. You never give Vaquero his just due. So that's what I'm doing here. He really impressed me against Oscar Valdez, just to kind of follow up on the video I made. He really impressed me against Oscar Valdez because he won in a way that a lot of people didn't think he'd win. You know, you look at the back half of that fight when he only had one hand. He outboxed. He was outboxing Oscar Valdez. And Oscar Valdez can box. Oscar Valdez is a Mexican Olympian, you know, high-level counter puncher. He's turned into that with Eddie Reynoso. And, you know, very few people thought, if any, thought he was going to win by, you know, outboxing him. And we saw him landing a lot of jabs down the stretch of that fight, right? And he's a unique fighter because he looks like he has the most ugliest footwork in the world. He looks out of position, and then you think you're gonna win the round, and then he just has this 15-second barrage where, you know, he really shifts the momentum. He's probably one of the best fighters in boxing at shifting momentum because he's never truly out of a round due to his combination of conditioning, awkwardness, and being a smarter fighter than people think. Like, he wasn't, you know, defensively he was better than I thought he'd be. So he deserves a lot of credit for winning a fight of this magnitude with this kind of legacy on the line with Oscar Valdez, right? And you look at what he's done in his career. He's 12-0 in world title fights, 9 title defenses across 3 weight classes, 3 division champion. I don't want to say he's a Hall of Famer just yet, but damn, he's knocking on the door. He damn sure is knocking on that door. And I think he's in a very interesting position, and this is what the main part of the video is right here. You know, you look at where he's currently at. He's at 130. Now, if you look 2 weight classes below him, you got Naoya Inoue, who right now is, I'd say, you know, he's not number 1 pound for pound. He's definitely number 2, but you know, I got him. He's my joint pound for pound number 1, right next to Terrence Crawford. I think they're both number 1, but that's just me. He's at a great weight for a big legacy-defining fight coming up real soon because he's big enough for Naoya Inoue in maybe like a year to a year and a half time. Inoue could go to 130 and fight him for a world title. Okay? Then he's also he's close to where he can go up to 135, the weight class above him, and fight Shakur Stevenson for a title. So those 2 fights right there, I'm looking at those 2 fights for Emanuel Navarrete as something that could really put him over the top. I mean, this fight did a lot for him because of, you know, the fact that it was getting comparisons to Morales Barrera. And it wasn't Morales Barrera because that fight's, you know, the highest of the high when it comes to excitement and legacy-defining Mexican fights. But it was a damn good fight, him and Oscar Valdez. And he showed his class on the night, and it's a good feather in his cap to have won a fight like that against a fantastic fighter like Oscar Valdez. But let's talk about that possibility, right? We'll start with Shakur Stevenson because that's what was discussed after the fight. Navarrete did say that he is willing to go up to 135 and fight Shakur Stevenson in a bid to become a 4-division champion. Now, I'll tell you this. Size-wise, I'm not sure. Like, I don't got the information in front of me, but I'm not sure. I mean, he's in a smaller weight classes, but I'm not sure how his body would fill up going to 135. But that's a real interesting fight because you want to talk about opposite sides of the spectrum when it comes to fighters and their styles. That fight is it. You know, Shakur Stevenson is, you know, the classy, fundamentally sound southpaw with deep amateur pedigree, Olympic medalist. You know, does a lot of things very well and does a lot of things very by the book. Emanuel Navarrete, he's a guy that's, for the most part, awkward, awkward volume puncher with the highest level of conditioning of pretty much any championship fighter in boxing. I would say he's probably one, if he's not the most conditioned world champion in boxing, he's definitely up there. But he's an enigma, right? Like, Navarrete is an enigma because his physique is not body beautiful. He doesn't got the six pack and the, defined muscle definition, but he's able to carry that stamina through 12 rounds and be just as dangerous in the 10th, 11th, and 12th rounds as he is in the first, second, and third rounds, right? He's always in a war, but his face never swells up. So he is like one of the most interesting fighters in boxing when you really sit down and dissect him, right? So I like that fight. Obviously, I favor Shakur because I believe he's a naturally bigger guy. And if there was any, and I just feel like he will find a way to neutralize Navarrete. And with him filling out into 135-pounder, his punching power is increasing. He's getting stronger, right? He's throwing more grown man punches in the professional ranks because he's not little old Shakur who just came from the AIBA World Championships in the Olympics. This is grown man Shakur now, right? So I'd favor him. But I'm gonna tell you this: nobody has really pushed Shakur. Nobody's really been able to make Shakur have to fight. Like, he's been on the front foot and he's beat people's asses, but nobody's really pushed his conditioning. He's been able to pretty much work at whatever pace he wants to work at and pot shot, counter punch, and do whatever he wants to on his way to victory. Navarrete is a guy we know for sure. If Shakur has any lapses in conditioning, Navarrete is capable of taking him to some deep, dark places. So I like that fight because that might be a fight where we actually learn something about Shakur, unlike a lot of these fights he's had recently against the likes of Yoshino and even like Conceição, who's a good fighter. Like, obviously Conceição is a good fighter, but Shakur Stevenson is just on a different level, right? And you gotta be elite at something. It doesn't necessarily have to be pure boxing skills, but maybe be an elite pressure fighter, to the highest degree. And I feel like Navarrete is that. If you made a list of the best pressure fighters in boxing, you could make a great argument that he's number one. And on top of that, he's one of boxing's most active champions. And if there's anything that we learned on True School Sports here over the years, is that activity matters. And activity will allow you to have the best timing, the best conditioning possible, and give you the best chance to win a fight like against Shakur Stevenson. So he has that going for him. So I like that fight. And then, right, switching gears, you got Inoue. Now, this one might be a bit of a long shot, but for documentation purposes, we will speak about it anyway. Inoue just had his first fight at 122, and he just demolished Stephen Fulton. He's going to try to unify the belts with Tapales by the end of this year, and it could be a very quick and swift run at 122, although Hideki Ohashi has stated other things. But, mind you, remember, Bob Arum is his co-promoter. Bob Arum has expressed the desire to have Inoue fight in the States next year. If he does, I don't think he's fighting Navarrete, but I think at some point, there's going to come a point in Inoue's career where he's going to need to fight a big fight in the USA, right? And I think Navarrete fits the profile. He fits the... my bad. Sorry about that. He fits the profile of someone that could really be that for him. He's Mexican. He's a Mexican fighter, style-wise. He's a fighter that casual boxing fans will really take to because of the amount of punches he throws. And then, think about that fight. Navarrete will be the bigger man, but Naoya Inoue is probably boxing's best, right there with Terrence Crawford, boxer, puncher. I mean, the guy can box. The guy can counterpunch. The guy understands positioning. The guy understands level changes. He understands a lot about the sweet science of boxing on a profound and deep level. But his conditioning will be tested against Navarrete. And I feel like, Navarrete is the kind of fighter that might actually get Inoue to have to break out his boxing skills even more just because of the guy he is. And because he throws so many punches and he's so awkward, it will present chances like it did for Valdez for Inoue to counterpunch him. So I'm looking at them two fights as fights where Navarrete could really, really go to even another level, right? And I would say if he's able to get one of those wins, he's a surefire Hall of Famer. That would really put him over the top. But even if he doesn't get those fights or those wins, I definitely feel like he's in this day and age where fighters don't fight that often. and they find reasons to not fight. Like even during the pandemic, this guy was fighting frequently. Like he was doing his thing. So I just think, you know, Saturday was great for Navarrete because it really gained that signature win that he's been searching for in his career, and it forced people to really give him his flowers because he's been doing things the honest way, the hard way, and for a long time, and he's been giving us great fights. I mean, even look at the fight before this one when he fought Liam Wilson, you know, Fight of the Year candidate. He's had 2 Fight of the Year candidates this year. I'm not sure if Valdez will win Fight of the Year or Liam Wilson, but they were both great fights, and they're both fights that when you talk about the year, the banner year for boxing that's been 2023, those fights deserve to be talked about for years to come. So that's my take on Navarrete versus Inoue and Navarrete versus Shakur. Let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think about those fights for him? And yeah, leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me. But I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True Street Sports Empire. We're here at the Hantanaka Boxing Gym in Nagoya, Japan. And for more great videos just like this one, make sure you guys click right here.